everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Captain America the Winter Soldier, the 2014 Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that I think is proof positive of why all this talk about how there are too many superhero films is a little bit overblown. Now I say this because this movie is a lot more stylistically akin to a spy film. I mean, I think it has lots to do more in common with like a James Bond movie than it does with Batman or Superman or any of the other superhero films that are a lot more boilerplate. I mean, this movie proves that you can take these superhero characters and really do unique and cool things with them. I mean, yes, of course, there are superheroes. They have superpowers. There are extended action sequences. There's all that kind of stuff. But I think from a storytelling point of view, it is much more like those types of movies than the ones that came out previously in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I absolutely adore this movie for that. I think the Russo brothers did a phenomenal job, and I'm so happy that they are the ones that did the following film, Civil War, which I also loved, and are going to be working on the Avengers movies, at least the next two, which I think is just super awesome. I'm not going to go too far into the plot of this movie, but I'll touch on that when I talk about some of the new characters. But really, this movie to me comes down to a lot of the style and a lot of the characters in this movie. I love what they did with Captain America and Black Widow in this film, where they made them this kind of duo together. I thought that was fascinating. I thought that there was a shockingly large amount of chemistry between the two of them, which I guess in retrospect I shouldn't have been too surprised, because this was far from the first film that they'd been in together, and both of them are young, good-looking people. But I just really liked their relationship that they set up, where they weren't like smooching in the corner the entire time. It wasn't always this wasn't like a relationship comedy or rom-com or romantic drama or what have you. But there was definitely sparks there, which were really exciting to see on screen in some of these moments that could have been otherwise a little bit more dull. I think it worked. It was very effective. I thought there was a sequence with Nick Fury that just absolutely blew me away and really played into that spy feeling, where it was him in the shootout in his car. And yes, they had this futuristic technology, but you think of like Bond having that kind of stuff. And I just love the way that they showed the ability of his SUV and the way that whole thing played out. I wasn't the biggest fan of the whole death thing with him. I thought that was a little bit poor, but I really dug that sequence. So it was almost enough to make me forget about the stuff that came after. They introduced the Winter Soldier in this film, and I'm not going to go too far into the plot, because if you haven't seen this movie, there's definitely spoilers that relate to him. He is the antagonist of this film, but I thought the way they set up his character and the way they showed what he was capable of, and the way that he was this really severe threat to the people in this film, I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and I just really enjoyed him on screen. I thought the way they set up the Falcon was great, because personally I have read a few comics storylines with the Falcon, but he was never a character that I really cared all that much about. I thought he was interesting, and I liked his whole friendship with Cap in the books, but yeah, I never really invested with him. He was never one of the big hitters by any stretch of the imagination. And the way that they were able to set him up as this lovable character in this film, I thought was very impressive, and made him a very pivotal part in the films going forward, and a guy that you could definitely see taking a more central point in the Avengers storylines going forward. And if it's anything like what it ended up happening to the character in the comics, he could be very important, which I think that he's set up very well to take on that large of a role. And Anthony Mackie just knocked it right out of the park. He just had this effortless affability to him that really worked on film. I thought Frank Grillo as Brock Ramloa, the guy who would end up being used in the next film to a very small degree, I thought he was really great. I really enjoyed the way they set up his character, the relationship that he had with Cap throughout, and how that kind of played out. I thought that was fantastic. Who doesn't enjoy seeing Robert Redford on film? I mean, the guy is just an absolute acting phenomenon, a phenom, just a legend for good reason. I had recently, when this movie came out, seen him in All Is Lost, I think is the name of the film, where it was just him on a boat with almost no dialogue for like an hour and a half, and he was awesome in that. And this, the level of acting that he had to give in this was nowhere near, but to have him there as this kind of authority figure and this mentor, and the role that they ended up giving him, I thought, the fact that they're able to get actors of that caliber to play these roles is one of the major reasons why the Marvel Cinematic Universe works so well. You know, with people like Glenn Close and Anthony Hopkins and too many more to list. But the way that they've gotten these powerhouse acting legends is just so impressive. And Redford just was a very valuable addition to the film. And there's a couple other new characters that I thought were a little bit less effective. And one of them, I thought wasn't designed to be anything too big. You had GSP, the MMA fighter, George St. Pierre, playing Bartok, and he wasn't in the movie very much. I thought the ability of him to fight in real life worked out fantastically for the film. There was when they had his sequence where he was fighting with Cap, there was, there felt like there was some real peril to the character there, which was really believable because he was played by a guy who could kick Chris Evans' ass any day of the week. So I thought that was really cool. But the big disappointment as far as introducing new characters was Sharon Carter. I mean, they just really gave her absolutely nothing to do, and even in the subsequent film, I didn't feel like she did very much. I would love to see her, given some real character, and the way they've dealt with their characters so far, it feels like they might do something with her later, but as of now, this really isn't doing it with me. But other than that, I just really love this movie to a large degree. There's a few nitpicks, like I said, Sharon Carter and what they ended up doing with Nick Fury. Those two things were, disappointing. But they did by no means did they take me out of the film or ruin the experience for me. I just adore this movie, and it was one of the most infinitely rewatchable films in the franchise to me, or any superhero film. I think it definitely would be in the top 10 of all time, probably even in my top 5. I think it's that good. So those are my thoughts on Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people will come check out this video, which is something I absolutely love because I love talking movies with people. And speaking of which, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. It'll let you know when I put out a new video. You can come check it out and tell me what you think. Other than that, have yourself a good day.